7 ugly aging habits that instantly make you look older than you are. You take care of your health. You eat well, you exercise, but somehow, when people look at you, they still say you seem tired or older than your age. Why? Because it's not always about wrinkles or grey hair. Sometimes it's the way you walk into a room, the way you speak, the way you dress. It's the little things you don't even notice anymore, but others do immediately. In this video, we'll uncover 7 subtle habits that silently age you, and more importantly, how to reverse them. Because once you know what they are, you'll never look or carry yourself the same way again. Aging habits that make you look older, and how to fix them. Habit 1. Neglecting personal grooming. Imagine meeting someone new. Before they speak a word, before they shake your hand, you've already formed a judgment based purely on how they look. Now flip the script. What's the first thing people see when they look at you? Untrimmed nails, hair a little too wild, the same old shirt worn day after day. You see, grooming isn't just about vanity, it's about how you carry your energy. When personal grooming slips, people don't just notice how you look, they notice how you feel. And that can shape how they interact with you entirely. Let's take the story of Jonathan, 75. He used to be known for his crisp shirts and clean-cut style. But over the years, that changed. His hair got longer, unkempt. He wore the same sweater nearly every day. His neighbors noticed, his family noticed, but no one wanted to hurt his feelings, so they said nothing. Until one day, Jonathan saw a recent photo of himself and hardly recognized the man staring back. That was his wake-up call. He booked a haircut, shaved his beard, picked out a few fresh shirts. And you know what changed? Not just his appearance, his confidence, his energy. The way people smiled at him. Even his own posture improved. Looking cared for makes people treat you like you care. You don't need to become a fashion model or spend hours grooming. Just the basics. Regular trims, clean nails, fresh clothes. Signal that you still value yourself. Doesn't that deserve to be seen? And others will respond to that. With respect, with warmth, with attention. Habit 2. Speaking too loudly or interrupting conversations. Have you ever been mid-conversation and realized no one else is talking? Maybe everyone's just listening politely. Or maybe you've been unknowingly dominating the room. One of the most common but rarely addressed aging habits is this: speaking louder than necessary or unintentionally interrupting others mid-sentence. And most of the time, it's not intentional. It's not rude, it's not ego, it's hearing loss, the kind that sneaks in quietly as we get older. When we can't hear ourselves clearly, we start talking louder to compensate. But what we don't realize is how that volume lands with others. Take Brian, 74. He was the life of every dinner table. Funny, talkative, opinionated. But gradually, his family started avoiding deeper conversations with him. Not because they didn't love him, but because Brian had developed a habit of talking over people, cutting them off, or raising his voice without realizing it. At a birthday dinner one night, his daughter gently pointed it out. "Dad, I think your hearing might be making you shout a little." At first, he was embarrassed. Then he got curious. He booked a hearing test. Sure enough, mild loss in both ears. After getting a hearing aid and consciously adjusting his volume, conversations transformed. He paused more, he listened better, and most importantly, people leaned in instead of backing away. The truth is, people won't always tell you when your voice feels overwhelming, but they'll show it by changing the subject, shifting their body language, or staying quiet. So what can you do? First, observe reactions. Do people lean back when you talk? Do they struggle to get a word in? Second, get your hearing checked. It's not a weakness, it's self-awareness. Third, practice the pause. Let others finish. Invite responses. When you balance speaking with listening, people naturally feel more connected to you. And that connection? That's what keeps conversations rich and relationships alive, because communication isn't just about being heard. It's about making others feel heard too. Habit 3. Wearing outdated or ill-fitting clothes. Clothes may not make the person, but they sure do make a first impression. The way we dress sends a message long before we speak. And for many older adults, it's easy to fall into a quiet routine. The same shirts, the same pants, the same well-worn shoes that were perfectly fine 10 years ago. But here's the thing. Outdated or ill-fitting clothing can make you look older, not wiser. Let's talk about Stephen, 73. He was sharp, smart, always had something interesting to say, but over time his wardrobe didn't reflect that. He wore stretched-out sweaters from the early 2000s, pants that sagged at the waist, and shoes that had long lost their structure. His family noticed, his co-workers noticed, even strangers did, but no one said a word. Until one day, Stephen ran into an old friend at a coffee shop. The friend looked sharp, simple button-down shirt, dark jeans, stylish watch. Stephen suddenly realized how he looked, next to someone who had simply updated. That week, Stephen donated a pile of old clothes. He bought 2 well-fitted shirts, 1 tailored pair of slacks, and a new pair of walking shoes. And the difference? Immediate. He felt more alert. He walked taller. People complimented him for the first time in a long time. Clothing doesn't have to be trendy or expensive, but it should feel intentional. Not like you gave up. Start small. Replace one outdated item with something clean, modern, and structured. Get a few go-to pieces. A crisp button-up, a clean jacket, fitted jeans or trousers. Stick with neutrals, or colors that suit your skin tone. Nothing flashy, just timeless. And remember, you're not dressing to impress others. You're dressing to remind yourself that you're still here, still vibrant, still deserving of being seen. Habit 4. Complaining or criticizing. Too much? Let's be honest, life changes fast, and sometimes it feels like the world has moved on without asking your permission. Technology, culture, the way people talk, dress, or work, it's different. And if you've ever caught yourself saying, things just aren't like they used to be, you're not alone. But here's the catch. When those thoughts become the focus of every conversation, they can quietly push people away. Martin, 72, was a man who loved telling stories, but gradually his stories turned into commentaries on politics, on kids these days, on how everything now feels rushed and impersonal. At first, it was charming. Then, it became predictable. His family still loved him, of course, but they started shortening visits. His grandkids stopped asking him questions. Conversations turned quiet, safe, surface level. Until one afternoon, his youngest grandson looked at him and said, "Grandpa, do you like anything anymore?" That one sentence broke through. Martin wasn't trying to be negative. He was trying to feel connected. But he realized his words weren't bridging the gap. They were building a wall. So what changed? He started paying attention. When a complaint came to mind, he paused and looked for something to appreciate instead. He still had opinions, but he learned to balance them. For every critique, a question. For every frustration, a compliment. And suddenly, people leaned in again. Want to avoid this habit? Practice self-awareness. How often are you leading with what's wrong? Try replacing. Back in my day. With "I'm curious, how does this work today?" Share stories, not just judgments. People connect with emotion, not lectures. You don't need to pretend everything is perfect, but when your words lift the room, even just a little, people feel it. And they remember how you made them feel, because sometimes the most powerful way to stay young is to stay open. Habit 5. Ignoring posture and body language. You can say all the right words. But if your body tells a different story, that's the one people believe. Posture and body language are silent messengers. They speak before you open your mouth. And as we age, they quietly shift unless we stay mindful. Let's talk about posture. Rounded shoulders, a shuffling gait, arms crossed, eyes down. These subtle changes are common and easy to dismiss as just getting older. But the truth is they Would they send a message? I'm tired. I'm fragile. I'm not fully here. That's not how you feel inside. But it's what people see. Take Carolyn, 80. She had always been strong, independent, but in recent years, people started offering her more help than she needed. Strangers would rush to open doors. Family members would speak to her like she was breakable. At first, she was confused. Then she saw a photo someone took of her at a family picnic. There she was, slouched forward, arms wrapped around herself, face turned slightly away. In that moment, she realized, this isn't how I feel, but it's how I look. From that day, she made a few small but intentional shifts. Standing tall, imagining a string lifting her from the top of her head, uncrossing her arms during conversations, looking people in the eye, not with force, but with calm confidence, lifting her feet when walking instead of shuffling. And guess what? People responded. They spoke to her differently. They listened more. They stopped treating her like she was fading and started treating her like she belonged. Want to fix this habit? Practice posture awareness daily. While brushing your teeth, walking, sitting, use reminders. Stand tall, shoulders back, chin up. In conversations, face people directly. Keep your hands visible and let your body say, I'm engaged, I'm present, I'm still here. Because your presence isn't just in your voice. It's in how you walk into a room, how you stand, how you hold your space. And when your body says, I'm alive, people believe it. Habit 6. Bad breath or body.
Odor, no one wants to talk about it. But everyone notices bad breath, lingering body odor. The kind of thing that makes people take half a step back without saying a word. Can you picture that moment and the toughest part?
You might not even know it's happening. As we get older, several things change. Our sense of smell weakens, so we might not notice what others can. Medications can dry out the mouth, leading to persistent breath issues. Sweat glands shift. Skin pH changes, digestion slows, and clothing, if not washed regularly, can quietly hold on to odors, more than we think. Lawrence, 78, was beloved in his neighborhood, always laughing, always telling stories, but over time, his conversations got shorter. People smiled, but didn't linger. It wasn't until his daughter gently mentioned it that he realized he had stopped paying attention to a few simple things. Hydration, washing certain clothes, swapping out an old stick of deodorant that used to work. He didn't feel offended, he felt empowered. He made a few adjustments, switched to an alcohol-free mouthwash, chewed sugar-free gum throughout the day, rotated his shirts more often, took a closer look at what self-care really meant, and just like that, people leaned in again. Conversations felt warmer. He felt like himself again. What can you do? Stay hydrated. Dry mouth is one of the biggest causes of bad breath. Chew gum or suck on mints to stimulate saliva. Use a mouthwash, but make sure it's alcohol-free so it doesn't dry your mouth more. Wear breathable fabrics. Rotate your clothes, even hats and scarves. And if you're unsure, ask someone you trust. A small conversation now can save countless awkward moments later. Because hygiene isn't about perfection, it's about respect for yourself and those around you. When you smell fresh, people don't just stay close, they stay connected. Habit 7, losing curiosity about the world. There's something quietly powerful about curiosity. It keeps us engaged, relevant, alive. But one of the sneakiest aging habits is this: giving up on learning. Not because we choose to, but because we slowly convince ourselves that we've seen enough, done enough, know enough. Sound familiar? Take Philip, 71. He used to read newspapers daily, ask questions, watch documentaries, but lately he'd just repeat the same stories, watch the same shows, dismiss anything new as unnecessary noise. His world began to shrink, not physically, but mentally, and the people around him could feel it. His granddaughter noticed. "Grandpa, you used to ask the best questions. Why don't you anymore?" That one sentence lit a spark. He picked up a biography, asked his neighbor about her work in tech, downloaded a language learning app just for fun, and everything changed. He felt plugged in again. People leaned into conversations with him, not because he had all the answers, but because he was still asking questions. Why does this matter? Because when you stop being curious, the world stops feeling fresh. And when the world feels stale, you do too. So how do you fix it? Try learning one small new thing each week. Ask people what they're passionate about, and actually listen. Read an article outside your comfort zone. Let yourself say, "I don't know. Tell me more." You don't have to keep up with every trend or new idea, but when you show people, especially younger ones, that you're still open, still evolving, they'll not only respect you, they'll be drawn to you, because staying curious isn't just about feeding your brain, it's about staying vibrant, connected, and fully alive. Final thoughts. Aging is inevitable, but looking and feeling old doesn't have to be. Now that we've walked through these 7 quiet but powerful aging habits, take a moment to reflect. Did you recognize yourself in any of them?
Even just a little? If so, that's not a failure, that's awareness. And awareness is the very first step to change, because here's the truth. Aging is guaranteed, but how you show up in the world, that's entirely in your hands. Neglecting,
Grooming, speaking too loudly, wearing clothes that don't fit, falling into constant complaints, letting your posture slump, your hygiene slide, your curiosity fade. They don't just make you look older, they make others feel like you've stopped caring. But the beautiful part, every single one of these habits is fixable. With small changes, with fresh attention, with a simple decision to say, "I still care how I show up in this world," because you are still relevant, still worthy of connection, still capable of being vibrant, magnetic, and respected. So here's your challenge. Pick one habit you want to change this week. Just one. Maybe it's your posture. Maybe it's your tone. Maybe it's asking more questions instead of giving more opinions. Whatever it is, start quietly, deliberately, lovingly. And as you change, watch how people around you respond, how conversations feel different, how your confidence rises day by day. Because aging isn't the end of presence. It's an invitation to refine it. And you, my friend, are far from finished. If you found the tips in this video helpful, don't hesitate to like the video, share it with your friends and family, especially those caring for their elderly loved ones. Comment below with your questions, thoughts, or concern. I read and value every single one. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss upcoming videos, where I'll continue to walk with you on the journey of senior healthcare with compassion, clarity, and science-based advice. One click from you can bring a big change to an entire family.